Thank you for checking out the Batcast featuring Andrew Caracci and Robert Roth.
Nice. Nice. I like that. That's not, okay. Well, I'm okay with that. That's fine. That's fine.
Obviously, I'm your host Andrew Caracci alongside
Robert Roth.
So yeah, we kind of did that a little bit. We're gonna move this a little here so the microphone's
all right. Let's get a little closer here.
So a couple of things before we get started on our agenda. Which we're not going to sign any executive orders in this
I've already signed 3.
Agendic disorder.
There's no more immigration from Illinois. I'm sorry. That was my order.
My executive order was to order a pizza that wasn't going to burn in the office. I mean oven. I almost threw my oven off the balcony today. Just saying, that thing just pissed me off.
Can you imagine if you're like a little kid walking past and you see this crazed man just going over his head like?
No, but so I posted on the Facebook site, and we actually have a Facebook site now. If you search Batcast, it has both of our names on it. We'll be streaming live from there starting. Sorry, I got bad heartburn right now. We'll be streaming live in about 2 weeks on that. With our first live will be The Killing Joke. Next week, instead of doing the animated series, we are going to review Justice League Dark. Is that the name of it?
Yes.
Justice League Dark. That's supposed to be with Constantine. It's the new DC animated movie that comes out this Tuesday, and we are going to be broadcasting next Thursday rather than Tuesday.
Yes.
So take a look for that. So don't get all scared like it's Wednesday. Where's my Batcast?
Yeah, like someone's probably gonna like just point like a shotgun at their head and Kurt Cobain it. Yeah. Just because we're what keep people going. Mm-hmm. We're like Jesus and Gandhi.
Right. So the Facebook page is up to 11 likes.
Nice. All right.
It's everyone I know, obviously.
Perfect.
So we will we'll try to get as many, and we'll update every week.
Are you going to link the link to the YouTube show on your Facebook page?
Yes.
Or on the Facebook page? Okay.
I don't know how. I tried that when I did the pinfall wrap up, and it just wouldn't let me do it. Like it would come up as an error a lot when I tried to. So like what happens when we go live here? My YouTube page is linked up to my personal Facebook page. So on the Facebook feed, it'll say Batcast has just gone live. Now, if you have a push notification on your phone and you're subscribed through YouTube, it'll tell you that as well when we go live. Also, we're still on Podomatic, we're still on iTunes, we're still on Stitcher, I believe. Pinfall wrap up is really dead, but for the time being, there's not going to be a whole lot of pro wrestling
even though it sucks because we're going into WrestleMania season and things should be good, but
they're just not. Like, so we'll stop there because there's people that don't give a fuck about wrestling that do listen to this, so we're not going to do that. And maybe Pinfall wrap up will come back. Maybe we'll do both when later on we can figure out how to do support. So the way how we do these podcasts is we literally sit in the same room and talk into one mic. And next, when we go live, we're trying to get 2 mics, right?
Yes, that's going to be a must for when we do that.
Right, and we got it.
It'll just be nice anyway.
Right, so it'll be a lot better.
Because I'll just be able to like sit wherever and like it'll be fine. I'm probably going to have to get like a somewhat matching mic to yours, otherwise it'll just look stupid.
Right. Well, this is the very basic Yeti microphone. It's a good microphone.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I don't know if we're gonna have to use 2 laptops. Maybe
No.
I don't know. Like I said, we'll have to figure it out. Can you hook up 2 mics to the same laptop? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm half retarded.
No, it's fine.
So this is not my expertise. Is the technical stuff?
It's fine. I'll explain it all to you. It'll be pretty easy.
When we first started this, I used to do most of the technical stuff, and man, it was when trying to upload to Podomatic, that was a pain in the ass.
Well, originally, the original idea for this, way back when, was to have a producer.
Correct.
And then for a while, that was somewhat kind of Patrick, I think, possibly a little bit.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Justin, Patrick.
And then
he just didn't put any effort into the show, like outside of the show. I mean, he did do some good stuff. Like he watched NXT. He was very good at the detail of the show. But as far as sharing an opinion, that wasn't his expertise. That is fine. There's still a place for someone that can memorize something that happened that might have a better mind than me, that can remember exactly what somebody said. And he was really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he used to correct me all the time when I would missay something. So like that's actually a compliment. We put him. I felt that might have been on us. We put him in a position where maybe he just wasn't ready for, and we tried to make him part of the show. But in his defense, he didn't watch the show. He used to come in at the end of it, so he didn't actually see the show when we were doing the live stuff. He'd come in for the last like half hour or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was on us, or maybe more me when we included him in. But we're still open for a third chair as a producer role or even as a talking role. When we had Mike a few months ago, that was fine. That was actually
he did well. I thought he did very well.
I know that I'm trying to get my friend Marcus to come because he's a huge Batman fan, and he was going to come today, but he's been sick the last 2 weeks. He doesn't want to get the podcaster sick, so he stayed home this time. He might come in next week. I don't know. I don't know what his schedule is, but we got other people that are interested in.
He's a mythical being to me.
You've never actually really seen him,
We
right?
have never crossed paths somehow. Any pay-per-view he's been at here, I have not. Anyone he has not. Any podcast he's taken part in.
He's filled in 4 podcasts of the Pinfall Wrap-Up.
Which is crazy. Which it's nuts to me. Like how this is even humanly possible. But
he that huge snowstorm we had last year where nobody made it, and I didn't want to do the show by myself, so I called him up and I'm like, hey, I know you don't really know wrestling, but I need a second chair. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. So like he's very dependable when it comes to stuff like that. Like I said, he was gonna be here. He was sick. Mm-hmm. He's been sick and he's hasn't been feeling well. He's feeling fine or anything like that. If he was like sick, he wouldn't tell.
You know what? Fuck this. I'm calling him out. It's fear. He's a pansy ass, is what it boils down to. If he has courage, he'll show up. Courage or common sense.
Or common sense now. So, yeah, and then no, I think he met you one time.
I don't.
He says he knows you, like he's seen you, like at a either a SummerSlam party or something like that.
Huh.
Like he came for one of them.
Maybe if I saw him again, I just might not remember.
He's not like a huge wrestling fan. That's not his. That's not his thing. So he was here for the Royal Rumble.
What the? Okay.
Which is rare because he comes to maybe 2 shows a year. He did Royal Rumble, and I'm gonna try to talk him in for WrestleMania. Because I tell him, like, those are the 2 shows you have to watch every year, even when wrestling sucks. You're always going to get a good Rumble match, and you're going to get a couple of good matches. It was a good Rumble match. Just the wrong guy went over. It was a good Rumble match, though. It had its moments. So, anyways, let's
stay off.
We'll stay off wrestling.
Back on track.
So we're back on track.
You're doing good today. You're doing good. I expected like about a 10-minute rant there for a second, but you did good.
See, that's where you come in to keep me on course.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So, anyways, what we're gonna go through is obviously we're doing the Batcast today, and what episodes are we doing this week?
All right. So this week we are doing Cat Scratch Fever, the Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne, and it's small. Heart of Steel parts 1 and 2. So we're doing another 2-parter.
Okay. My opinion before we get started, I thought this was probably the worst day of watching Batman of the ones we've seen so far. Like,
you know what? Here's the thing. Like, I feel like what's ending up happening right now is our expectations are getting progressively higher and higher and higher. I'm gonna take the route of I've been spending a lot of time like reading comics and stuff now, and like going.
So your expectations are going to be
so
extremely
my
high.
expectations have like just fucking ballooned.
Now, when you read them,
yeah,
when you're reading Batman, are you imagining Conroy's voice?
I think so.
Because I do that too.
I think
and then
so,
when you read
yeah.
The Killing Joke, did you imagine Mark Hamill's voice, or did
For the Joker? Yes.
Or
absolutely,
did you get John
absolutely.
DiMaggio's from the Red Hood?
Joke? No. It would be the Hamill one for sure. For sure.
So isn't that kind of weird how that works?
Yeah, like the thing is with the comics, believe it or not, they like what I've read so far, they're so focused on everything else because really, if you look at The Killing Joke, you're looking at like that's a Joker one right there. That is Joker's comic. It's weird when you look at like the compilations at Barnes and Noble. The Killing Joke both comes up on the Batman side and the Joker side, like as a Joker comic, because they have them all divided by, superhero, villain, whatever series like that. And that one comes up on both sides. That's one of them. And in all the compilations, The Killing Joke is in the Joker compilations, not the Batman ones. Food for thought there.
And we're going to have to do Lego Batman, right?
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that. I mean,
we'll admit it. We're going to do Lego Batman. We're going to try to do everything that's DC Batman related for movies as they air. TV shows, we're going to stay away from it because we'll exclusively do a TV. When we're done with Batman the Animated Series, we'll pick another.
So you're doing Batman 66. Huh? Like the original campy-ass Batman.
If we run out of material, yeah, we can go that route.
Man, you know how painful that's going to be? Everything's going to be like a terrible Robin episode.
I hate this.
Yes.
I hate this. No, I won't do that. I will watch.
Yeah, we might as well watch wrestling again.
Right. I'd rather watch wrestling. So like,
although I wouldn't mind watching the newest animated one that came out of the Batman 66.
Oh, the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Hey,
like, that'd be something we can add to our list. But there's a lot of other Batman shit that's better that I'd rather.
I was going to say, like, one thing we could, we talk about all these things we could do, but, like, if you end up, like, starting to, like, get into the comics or whatever, if you end up getting a tablet and you start doing it, it'd be interesting to throw a comic in every now and then, just to,
we're going to be doing that in 2 weeks with The Killing Joke. We're going to do the comic and we're going to do the.
So, I mean, that might be a template of something we could try out. Even if we did, like, a series together and, like, we wouldn't even have to read it at the same pace or anything, but, just bounce some thoughts back and forth on, like, different ones. Like, I'm working on Batman Eternal right now. Awesome. Like, great writing, great animation, great everything, good story.
You see what I did here? We just when we did this Batcast, we originally started it off as like something as a side project away from wrestling because we were done with wrestling. It was because we watched a really bad Raw. Is that what it was?
I think so.
It was.
Like, it was. So,
I have the notes of the last pinfall.
It was so strikingly bad. We were like, we can't.
I mean, we main event. Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles. If Ambrose wins, he's the #1 contender. It had James Ellsworth. That was the last pinfall wrap-up we did because I have the notes for it still. Kenny Dykstra and Mickey versus Heath Slater and Rhino. Remember when Heath Slater and Rhino were a thing?
Oh, yeah. I remember all the way back then. Yes.
Right. Like, so anyways, so when we did this Batcast, we decided that we're going to do it as like a side thing, and then it just kind of got a mind of its own. I've been getting really into the animated series. I couldn't believe like how good it is.
It's good. I mean, like, definitely in like the first series or season or however you want to refer to it, like it had, the animation wasn't tight like it is now. Like the animation's pretty damn good now. Like at first it was very aged, and then it's like that series went on, it got better and better and better. But every now and then there still are like somewhere, I don't know if they have their B production team on it or what, but it gets a little bit And you'll notice too, like the intro doesn't really match up with the animation of the actual episode itself. Like it's noticeably behind like the quality that you get in the episode. So, and I mean, it's a year or two after. I mean, I'm sure they had the first Batman the animated series in the bank, like done and like ready, maybe 8 months before they actually aired it. And then, this stuff could theoretically be 2.5 years newer than what we originally saw in like the pilot or the first few episodes. So, taking that into consideration, technology advances, methods of doing things advance, things get better, things get cleaner. So I don't know, that might have a lot to play into it, but the animation is good. It holds up.
And I'm trying to think, like, what makes our podcast stand out from other people that review Batman? What would you say it is?
Honesty and random thoughts. And just realism, because we are not your like hardcore like. Well, in this episode, they portrayed the Penguin as like no. It's just like, here's what we like. Here's why we like it. If you're somewhat like us and you think like us and you speak like us, maybe you'll like it too.
We're trying to, because here's the thing. Like, I am a huge Batman fan. However, I don't read a lot of comics. Just in general, I don't really read that much. Rob was kind of more of a casual superhero guy, not really into it, just crazy. Right. I think the only introduction that he really had with Batman were maybe the movies. That's
for the most part. Well, Batman Beyond, like way back when, but like,
yeah, but you don't really remember the episodes.
Not really at all. But so, like, yeah, I really don't have like the same level of like knowledge, of course, that you have. I'm working on it. But
yeah, you might be surpassing me because you're going the comic book route. So what would be the next series to do? You want to do Batman Beyond, or do you want to do Justice League?
I'm going to do Justice League.
Okay.
Because, well, okay. I've put thought into this. We could take a completely different route, and we could do Superman. Like, just the straight-up Superman stuff. And then do Justice League.
That's a lot of episodes I don't want to sit through.
Did you like them?
They were okay. I will say that Bruce Timm's Superman is a lot more easily to stomach than any other Superman I've seen.
Okay.
I like the Bruce Timm Superman, but I like him in Justice League. I don't like him.
That being said, I'm not saying we should watch like the Superman movies or anything like that.
I'll watch those. Those are good.
Like, if you want, I don't care.
I actually have Rebirth or whatever. I have one of them. It's good.
Okay, yeah, like that, the animated ones. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I won't watch live action. I won't watch those.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah,
at.
Like, I won't watch. No, I won't do it.
That's what I'm.
That's too cheesy and hokey for me. I won't go backwards. That's like with Batman. I won't watch Batman Forever, and I won't watch Batman and Robin. We can do the Tim Burton film maybe one day, because I still think that's a really good standalone film.
Fuck yeah.
And Batman Returns is okay. So I mean, I'll do those two, and because that took Batman Returns took a completely different look on Batman, like made him dark as fuck. That movie was dark. And then Batman Begins. Maybe we'll do we'll do the whole series, the Christopher Nolan series.
I'd be fine with that. Yeah.
And then I can rip apart The Dark Knight and get freaking hate for it.
But Heath Ledger. No.
Oh, speaking of the Joker, so have you been watching Gotham at all?
No.
Do you ever plan on going that route?
I will.
So
I'll binge the shit out of that one.
Okay,
sometime.
So Gotham is supposed to be a prequel to Batman.
Correct.
In a sense. So they just introduced the Joker. Let that one sink for just a minute.
Okay.
There's no Batman yet. Okay. So they're not calling him the Joker, because I'm pretty sure that's copyrighted. And
it's DC.
Yeah, but Fox doesn't own certain rights to certain characters. They can't do Batman or something like that. Like the show Gotham, they can't bring in Batman. That's why they did Gotham. Like Commissioner Gordon, as long as they don't call him Commissioner Gordon, they can call him whatever they want. But they can't say the word Commissioner Gordon, because he's not a commissioner. He's Lieutenant Gordon, or he's Detective Gordon. But there's certain characters they don't have the rights to, or something like that.
That's weird, because DC produces it.
Right, but it's still,
I understand there could be some licensing issue or whatever.
I don't know what it is, but
I'm assuming it's something like, here, let's veer off into something you want to get into really quick. Like Marvel with X-Men.
Right.
Like where Fox has X-Men, thusly they have Deadpool. Disney can't touch that shit. So, but Disney owns Marvel, but Fox has the production rights.
Well, Marvel's weird like that because they have a lot of things that are split up.
Mm-hmm.
They have like we said, a lot of solid B plus players for their comics. Where DC pretty much owns all of DC. There's no one really owns DC. And when you get something from DC, you get everything. That's why it's really weird what's going on with Gotham. So the guy's name is like Jamal or whatever. He was dead. He died in the second season, and they brought him back to life. And it annoyed me because they did this scene where he grabbed a security officer. He did like the shaky camera. He's Heath Ledger, essentially. I don't understand this idea now that every new Joker we get is a Heath Ledger Joker. And the Heath Ledger Joker to me isn't the Joker. It's a cool villain, but it's not the Joker.
Right.
John DiMaggio took a different route on the Joker. Well, not him, but how they wrote him in the Red Hood.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, is a perfect combination of what the Heath Ledger Joker should have been and still had a little bit of the Mark Hamill and Cesar Romero type Joker and Jack Nicholson. Kind of all merged into one. I still think the Red Hood Joker is the best animated Joker and the best Joker I've seen overall. Now, the Mark Hamill Joker is amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But if it was written at a darker tone. Now, we see the Mark Hamill in the Arkham games, and he's awesome in that. So that's pretty much Mark Hamill at the best you're going to get as far as like dark storytelling. And if you haven't played those games, I would recommend you at least watch video so you can get the story because it's a great story, all three games, especially Arkham Knight. I really like Arkham Knight because they took a completely different spin on Jason Todd.
Okay.
So that's the Jason Todd story, was Arkham Knight. So like the whole thing is, so with this Jamal character or Jamil or whatever the fuck his name is, they introduced him and he's Heath Ledger.
Okay.
So it like annoys me that seems to be where everyone goes to now. Even the John DiMaggio Joker, it looked like it was going to be written like a Heath Ledger Joker. But then you saw it play out, and then you're like, wait, this is what it should have been. This is like that style of kind of Joker, but
Correct.
but added the Joker into him. The Joker is obsessive compulsive. Like he has his own like fascination with Batman. That's like the one thing that he like keeps him going. And he has a connection with Jim Gordon too, because Jim Gordon is like the good cop that won't break the law.
Right.
And like that's what the Killing Joke's all about in a little bit. But the point that I was trying to make before we get started was just I didn't like it. I just didn't like it, and I was like, God damn it. Because the one character that did very well in that show is Penguin. I think Penguin's great. They made him gay, but whatever. So what?
He's kind of a...
Well, here's the thing. The thing they did with Penguin. So also Edward Nygma's in it, so the Riddler, and they did him really, really good. He's not the Riddler yet, but he has done like he's been clinically insane. He killed somebody and framed Jim Gordon for it, and like went through the whole thing, like totally outsmarted him and everything, and then Jim Gordon broke out, blah blah blah, whatever. That was the whole first part of the second season, which was really, really good written, good TV stuff. And Nygma is a great character the way they made him. So Penguin helped nurse Penguin to health once when he was like stranded out in the woods. So for Penguin, they wrote him in the story like a guy who's never had anyone look out for him. He didn't really have a family. His mother was murdered in front of him by Gallivan, and he's always been treated like garbage. So here comes a guy who treats him like an equal, treats him as a partner, and he mistakes that for being in love with him. But is he really is what that story is. So when people say he's gay, I don't really know if he's gay. He might love Nygma, but he doesn't understand what love is, like because he's never experienced anything. I don't know. It's interesting. So the characters are good. That's what makes the show watchable. So I do recommend watch it, but there's like parts where you're gonna be like, this is stupid. You're gonna get that in any TV show, though.
Correct.
And I'm getting that with Arrow right now. Arrow has gotten so bad. Well, not bad, but stupid. And if whatever the Prometheus character, or I forget what the fuck his name is, if they don't have a good reveal of who this is, then I might be done with that show.
Okay.
Like, I might just be done with it because I'm wasting my time watching it every week. Flash is getting better, and Legends, that's one you should check out. Legends you'll like.
Yeah, everything. I did notice like what you were talking about. Everything is on Netflix now. So for sure.
See, but if before you watch Legends, you need to watch the first season of Flash.
Okay.
Because all the characters from Flash and Arrow are in Legends. They took all like the side characters and made their own show.
Oh, kind of like what Marvel did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with the movie.
Sure.
Like with the movies, they snatched like all of your C+ players. And you're like, you get a show.
Yeah, but they took the good characters from the show. That's what I really like.
Yeah.
They took the ones that had like one-off episodes that I really liked, and they gave them their own show, and it worked. And they added in like one new character.
Okay.
So, anyways, Cat Scratch Fever.
All right.
What'd you think of it? Because I didn't like it at all. I got bored with it. So she's looking for her cat?
Okay.
That's what this essentially was?
Right. So essentially Selena Kyle was she was given probation on charges of theft. Obviously she's the Catwoman, so she stole something, got caught. She was given probation by a judge. Judge told her, if you ever get in trouble again, though, I'm throwing the law at you. So that's kind of the premise of the book at you. So that's the premise on which it starts. So anyway, while she was locked up or whatever, awaiting trial, her assistant was taking care of her cat, lost her cat. Isis, who it's the Egyptian god, but it's funny that's the name. But anyway, so lost the cat, and so she's out looking for the cat and runs into these people, these goons in an alley snatching cats and catching them with nets. So she stops them, and then it leads to something bigger. You have the Daggett guy, who is the CEO of like Evil Corp, apparently, because they
never catch him.
Well, every bad thing that someone could possibly be into, he is the maker of. So essentially, he was capturing these animals to do experiments on them and infect them with a disease that would then infect the population. And then he was the only one that sold the cure for it. So he had the cure made before people were even infected. And then he was going to sell the drugs to heal people of it, and then he was going to make a lot of money and look like a hero. So it was up to essentially Selena Kyle and Batman to stop him.
Yeah.
So I made it sound 50 times more interesting than it actually was. It was kind of a bummer of an episode.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
I don't care about Selena Kyle. It's not like she's been written bad. There's just so much.
She's written poorly in this compared to other shit.
She is, yeah. It's not one of their strong characters. It seems to me it's a character that they just didn't give a shit about, so they didn't really put much effort into it.
Yeah.
So why make the episode? That's like the whole thing. Like, why does this episode exist? What was accomplished?
I feel like they are trying, but in all the wrong ways.
Right.
Like, I feel like they are trying to give her a story, and they're trying to make her like, a main eventer. Like, she's probably had more episodes already than Robin.
Yeah, I think she's had 4.
So
she had a 2-parter.
Yeah. So I mean,
well, Robin had.
I was gonna say so is Robin, but they're trying with her. They're doing something anyway.
I don't like it.
Me either.
I didn't like it.
Hear you.
I think I remember when I saw this when I went about 10 years ago, I went back and watched all the episodes in a row in a span of like 4 days. This was one of the ones I just did not like.
Without me?
I didn't know you back then.
Yeah, well, you could have found me. I was alive.
Yeah. I was still working at Walmart. Oh, fuck.
I was a year away.
A year away from working at Walmart.
Yeah, think about that one.
Yeah. Great.
Spoiler alert, we work at Walmart. Sorry, everyone. We're not professional bat people. That's not our career.
I am. I get paid for this shit. I don't get paid for this shit. So the next we can skip ahead to the next episode.
It was not
nothing. My final thoughts was I think this was a poor episode. This could have been better. Batman got attacked, got manhandled by a dog. This cunt was shooting at him, and it was bad. I just wasn't into it. I was making pizza during this episode. That's how interested I was of it.
It wasn't a good one. Just we'll leave it there.
All right. What's our next one?
All right, next one up. The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne.
This one was good.
I liked it. An interesting story.
It could have been better.
You had a Hugo Strange episode. Yeah.
I feel like this should have been a two-parter. This could have been better.
It had more potential.
And way more potential. You could have done this without using the Joker, Two-Face, and Penguin.
I think they complemented it though.
Yeah,
you definitely could have done it without it, but it added so much that they were there.
Right.
So, I mean, with this one, long story short, you had Hugo Strange use the device on Bruce Wayne to figure out. Well, essentially, Bruce Wayne was tricked into Hugo Strange using a device on him where it was able to read his thoughts and go through his memories, and it became apparent that to Hugo Strange that Bruce Wayne was Batman. Hugo Strange had a device. That device recorded this stuff. It recorded it onto a tape. Once he figured out who Bruce Wayne was, he called up the Joker, Two-Face, and Penguin and was auctioning off the identity of Batman. So, of course, Bruce Wayne / Batman couldn't let that happen, and that's where your excitement is.
Right away, you get the potential of this being like a huge story.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
feel like this is where
his identity is at stake.
This is where it fell down because there wasn't a very good payoff. You never felt that his identity was really in jeopardy.
Right. Correct.
So that's where I feel like it had a little bit of a fallout. There's a lot of people out there that love this episode and rank this in like the top 10 of like the animated series episodes. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's a top 10 episode. I don't even know if it's top 20. Because there's a lot of good ones, and if you put this one could have been one of the better ones, but I can't put it in the same conversation as Heart of Ice.
Yep.
Or Feet of Clay, or Feet of Clay was really good. Robin's Reckoning. I don't think it's up there at that level. Night of the Ninja is a good one that we just saw last week. Pretty much all 3 episodes we saw Laughing Fish. So I don't know if it's up there with that. And then the Mad Hatter episode, the first one and the second one. Those were really good. This one just wasn't. It was good. Don't get me wrong. Like wasn't bored watching it. But Joker, Two-Face, and Penguin is what made the episode, unfortunately. And they were side characters, but they made the episode like good. I thought, well, it made it funny.
Joker's never a side character.
Right, but
I understand what you're saying though. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they made the episode very tolerable. I've been noticing Alfred getting tortured a lot. And I feel very bad for him. This thing with Hugo Strange, Bruce Wayne wanted to take a vacation. So they went to some desert resort or something.
To investigate what's-her-face's... did you miss that part? The judge had
the judge's whole thing.
That's the only reason why he was there.
But essentially, he's going on vacation. Essentially, it's a resort.
But it's not a real vacation.
Oh, but
he's not really going on
packed
vacation. I got you.
But he brings Alfred along. Like, I understand he needs someone there, but in full butler mode, like, would you do that as a person? Like, you're going to a resort. Wouldn't it be just strange to bring your butler in, like, full butler gear? No, like, I don't know. Like, I guess he's his personal assistant, too, but Damn.
It's also his best friend.
Yeah.
He was his guardian. He raised him. So I feel like he needs him like more as not only as his butler, but almost kind of to keep him company too. In case shit were to go south, he's got Alfred.
I like Alfred in the Telltale game.
Yeah, he's good.
He's not. He's like his father,
Right.
in that more so than you see him like even in the comics or in this. Like he's like his dad. Like he's telling him shit, like barking orders at him almost, and like telling him you're just straight out wrong. Like you shouldn't be doing this. Like you're going too far. What were you thinking? Like,
well, the Telltale Alfred, they try to kind of make him the Alfred from the Christopher Nolan series.
the Alfred from the Christopher Nolan series, like he was just an asshole,
Right.
like a wise asshole.
Right.
This was
Why
similar,
do
yet
we
different.
fall? To help each other pick each other's dicks out of the sand.
Like,
he was a walking metaphor the whole, at least in the second movie. The first one, he was all right. He was tolerable.
mhm.
And I like Michael Caine.
I love
and
Michael
you love
Caine.
him. I like him too.
I love Mike. Have you weird off thing here? But have you ever seen the movie Death Trap?
No.
Oh,
Speaking of movies, though, I did see a really, really bad one a couple days ago. So I was looking on IBM or IMBT to the C squared or whatever the fuck it's called.
IMDb.
Right. That was close. And I typed in Kurt Angle because I knew he was in a couple of movies.
Mhm.
And I looked at them and I was like, all right, I'm going to watch one of these. And the one that popped my eye, it said Kurt Angle, Kevin Nash, and Psycho Sid were your three leading actors. I'm like, sold. I need to see this piece of shit. So Kurt Angle plays a sheriff, but he walks like Kurt Angle. He walks like a professional wrestler still because his neck is so fucked. Kevin Nash plays a like mud creature that's going around killing people at the docks, along with Psycho Sid, his brother. And then I fell asleep through it. Twice. I tried twice.
Okay.
It was boring. For a slash movie, it was the most boring movie I've ever seen. The acting was terrible. So bad, but it was like enjoyable terrible. And I didn't think Angle was bad.
What? How much unnecessary nudity did we get?
None.
What kind of shitty horror movie is this?
Right. And there weren't there was a woman that was killed in the beginning, but other than that, it was all dudes getting murdered.
Okay.
And they were getting murdered like idiots. Like two guys were working on a boat at like 3 or like 1 in the morning.
That's the best time.
Right.
Because that's when it's dark and you can get killed.
On the same dock where two people have already been murdered, and they have the door wide open, and they're not even really working. One guy has like a wrench in his hand, he's drinking a beer, and the other guy's just drinking a beer, jerking himself off with another wrench. Like,
Oh my!
Like they're not even.
That's what killed him.
I don't know what they were doing. Like, what were they working on? Was it the motor? I mean, they were inside the boat. Like they weren't like underneath it or like in the in the living space. Let's just say like right now we're sitting in a living room and I decide that I'm going
you have a pallet of shingles.
Right, I'm gonna do some roofing, but I'm inside the house. Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these two motherfuckers are both dead. It was bad.
I would just hope he just killed everyone with the jackknife powerbomb.
There's another movie, I think it's called Endgame, where he plays a spousal abuser. That one I need to see. Because it looks like he's like...
Did they just follow him with a camera?
Right.
Like, okay.
So anyways. Back to Batman.
Yeah. Oh, he was in Sharknado also.
Yeah, and as a cameo, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Pain and Gain. He was in that too. He was the guy that The Rock fought in
I didn't know
Junkyard. That was
Oh.
Kurt Angle. Yeah, where he threw the weight at him.
Oh, I'll have to
Like,
watch that again.
took his
I
head
actually
off.
like that movie. Oh, really?
That was Kurt Angle.
Huh.
Yep. I didn't know it either. And
No, you didn't like Pain and Gain, right?
hated it.
I loved it.
I didn't like it because it was based off of a true story, and they turned it into that like dark comedy. I didn't like that idea. If it wasn't based off
the true story was so absurd that's about, because if you didn't go the dark comedy path with it, that was the only way you could go with it.
So, anyways,
where else would you go with a story that absurd?
It was vastly exaggerated.
If you turn 9/11 into a dark, I think you could actually successfully do that. But that would be different.
Anyways. So he was also, ever seen the movie Warrior with Tom Hardy? He's in that too. He's one of the guys. He's like a UFC fighter or a MMA fighter, and he has to fight Kurt Angle like as his final boss. I guess Angle whoops the shit out of him because he's like twice the size of Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy, who played Bane.
Correct. Tom Hardy has been in more than you think.
Right.
By the way, but like in some movies he looks huge. In some movies he looks his real size.
He looked huge in Batman.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he got jacked.
He did. But he's not really tall.
No.
So it's like, but
and he's skinny.
And Christian Bale's huge.
He's really big.
So I don't know how they did it, but that was a good job. However, they did that.
Huge suit.
So anyways, back to the Batcast with Andrew Caracci and Robert Roth. And we're back after the break. So
the non-existent break. Which there were no commercials, just talking. So yeah.
So we're reviewing Night of the Werewolf or whatever.
The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne.
Oh, okay, same thing. So they had that auction that just like
it blew my mind.
Blew your mind.
Okay, so the idea is he did this whole thing, essentially like Hugo Strange's a whole business plan. He built this machine. He said it took him years to build this machine. The machine, when he's giving you these therapy sessions with the machine, that's how he's getting these memories out of you. And he's trying to bring up painful things because it will, quote unquote, relieve stress. Okay, so he's bringing up these painful things, and he's trying to get it from people he knows he can extort. So he's essentially blackmailing them, or he's going to auction off their secret, like in the case of Bruce Wayne, because he found out something so valuable that he's like, all right, well, I can make tons off of this. So, like the judge, she accidentally burnt down a dock when she was a child by playing with matches. Like, there's a huge dock fire in Gotham. It was her fault. It was a secret that she was living with since she was a child. And the episode actually started out with him sending goons to blackmail her or whatever, to give, whatever it would be. Like, she'd pay them or something, and she'd get the tape. So with this one, he decided, well, I'm going to auction it to people that Batman would have an issue with once he found out Bruce Wayne was Batman. The Joker, Two-Face, and Penguin. So he has this auction. They all show up at his, resort facility, and they start the auction. And it starts at $500,000, goes up. Oh, that's chump change. 1 million, 2 million. And then they all look at each other and they're like, we should just work together and share it, because they all want, the same result. They all want to know. So they end up paying Hugo Strange $53 million, and the Joker has some change also. Now, that's not how an auction works.
If they had all the leverage, why'd they pay more money?
That's the thing. Like, as an auctioneer, the last thing you want to hear is that everyone's working together, because then they're at $3 million. They could just stop bidding, and then they all just split it. Why would you go up another $50 million you could have for $3 million when all of these are criminals, where, especially like Two-Face, where they're just trying to make money, or Penguin, who's just trying to make money? The Joker's motives are a little bit different, but like for those two, everything's about money. So why would you blow $50 million?
Do you think they were actually going to pay it, or do you think
They had all the money laid out.
But was it maybe a plan? Maybe they're going to take the tape anyways and then take their money because
I don't know.
Hugo Strange going to stop these guys?
True. How would you? So, I don't know. It made zero sense to me. Like, that's not how an auction works. But it's like walking into a McDonald's. You buy a double cheeseburger. The cashier's like $1. You're with your friend. Hey, we could split this. Here's $50. And like it makes no sense. That's the equivalent. But I don't know. Maybe I overanalyze it. Who knows? I probably overanalyze it. It's a cartoon. So, but still, it makes no sense.
So, another part that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. So Hugo Strange gets caught by Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon says that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Nobody believes him, and then Batman's already there, and then Bruce Wayne shows up. But it's Dick Grayson dressed as Bruce Wayne.
Correct. He had a mask on because, don't you carry a mask of yourself with you at all times when you go on vacation?
Well, Dick wasn't there.
Yeah, I know, but damn.
Wouldn't it make more sense if Dick was dressed as Batman? Because that's a lot easier to conceal because it's a fucking mask.
Right. Yes. But no.
It's funny. In the graphic novel Black Mirror, Dick Grayson actually puts on the bat suit because Bruce Wayne's gone for some reason. And he confronts the Joker. Tilts and everything so he can look like Batman and puts on big shoulder pads and so he looks bigger. And he appears on the rooftop where he visits the pretty much get information out of him. So he lands, and before he says a word, Joker immediately says is like, oh, so the bird came out to play. Immediately he knew that it wasn't Batman.
Nice.
So with Dick Grayson, if he put on the bat suit and for that scene, would the Joker immediately...
Well, which would have essentially then Wayne his bluff on that one.
Right.
Like,
but wouldn't that have been interesting?
Yeah.
But they weren't going to do that, obviously. So anyways, I thought
that it would have been a two-parter.
Right. On a strong episode, but it could have been a lot better. There's some stupid in it, but whatever. So we move into Heart of Steel, and this was another one that was just fucking weird.
It was kind of blah.
Right.
Yeah,
it was weird.
I feel it sucks every time the two-parters don't need to be a two-parter.
Right.
I'll say and then like the ones that could be a two-parter, like Heart of Ice, most noticeably.
And I would say it's the strange secret of Bruce Wayne's penis.
Could have been a two-parter.
Yeah.
There's a lot I would have rather, a lot of other ones I would have rather seen as a two-parter. But I think, we had the one with Selena Kyle, the whole, that one with Red, what's her fuck.
That one was okay, though.
It didn't deserve that.
No, but that one was
It wasn't a bad one. I'm not saying it was bad, but that one stands out in my mind that didn't need to be. The Robin one was a good two-parter.
Yeah.
That was a very great story told. That was one of them where you forget you're watching like a children's show.
Yeah. Because you get so wrapped up in the story.
I can't say I hated this one as a two-parter. I didn't hate it. I thought this one was better than the one with Red Claw. So as a two-parter,
right,
I
would
think
agree.
That would be my least favorite one so far.
Because they went with the iRobot story. And if anyone hasn't seen iRobot, or if you've seen iRobot, you know what I'm talking about. Terminator, this artificial intelligence is going to take over the world, essentially.
This is like a real theory, actually,
right.
Studied, where people are starting to panic now. Because apparently there was a study, and multiple studies have all come. I know this isn't really Batman-y, but it ties into the episode.
Right.
Multiple independent studies have all said by 2048, there's the potential that robots will forcefully take over. Like, everyone points to the same year, and we're progressing at a point where the progression of our technology is already starting to, not be in our hands anymore. And it's going to get to the point where the technology just breaks away from us on its own. Because as more and more things become automated, things are getting too smart. Things are knowing us too well, and their ability to think is getting too strong.
Do you think that by that, maybe not by that time, but that's when we will evolve as well, where we'll learn how to use the majority of our brain rather than whatever the 10% that we use? Are we going to get to a point where we can figure out how to use the other 90%? Because in theory, if you could use 90% of your brain, you could like read people's minds and shit. That's how like powerful the human mind is. If you could use your entire mind, you could use telekinesis and shit like that. That's the theory behind it. But because we only use like 8% or 10% or whatever it is, we have the knowledge that we are now.
Right. I'm who knows? Who knows? But yeah, so the whole idea of AI somehow taking over isn't very far-fetched, and it's in our future, like closer than we think.
Right. And so, and this was an interesting take on it. There was a scene where what's her face went into the Batcave and says, "Oh, Batman, Bruce Wayne is Batman," and the artificial guy just didn't really give a shit.
He was like, "Yeah, I might be able to use that sometime down the road." Anyway, yeah,
that might be useful sometime.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty much what he said. Like, this might be useful later on.
Yeah,
but
right
really
now it doesn't really matter. So they're trying to find all these they're hacking these computers so they can replace humans with robots.
Correct.
So like iRobot.
Yes.
And I'm not real familiar with Terminator, so
okay. So the whole idea of Terminator is, long story short, it got to the point where war between robots and the remainder of human civilization, because robots were taking over, or cyborgs, or whatever, the
right
machines were taking over. So the main person who was leading the resistance against the robots, who could actually like turn the tide of the war and win everything, was the son of who Arnold Schwarzenegger's character went back in time to the 80s to kill, thusly preventing him from living, which meant he could not lead the resistance, which means then everything would be fine for the machines.
Right.
So it was like the machine sent someone to the past to kill in order to, like, yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that was the idea of that. But again, it was artificial intelligence taking over.
Right.
Correct.
We've seen a lot of movies do this, and now we see Batman do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought their story had a potential to be really good.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not a Batman story. It's bigger than a Batman story. Like, it's not something that needed to be told in the Batman universe. Not yet, at least.
I mean, it would damn near be a Superman one.
Right.
With the scope of what that would mean. Because that's not just a Gotham problem. Huge world.
The entire Justice League.
That's it. Yeah.
Now, this time period in the animated series is before Justice League formed.
Right.
So, and I don't even think like Wonder Woman hasn't left. She's still on the island. I don't think Flash has even gotten his powers yet. Superman is Superman, like he exists, but that's really it. Because there's a couple crossover episodes where Batman actually works with Superman. Not in the first 3 seasons, but in the 4th season we see it. Because the Batman Superman movie is technically a 2-part episode, or it was a 3-part episode that they did before they released the season 4 of an animated series.
Ah, okay.
It was supposed to tie in the Superman world and the Batman world, and then it was right after, because you had the Superman animated series ran, and then you had the new Batman Adventures, which ran alongside with the 2nd season of Superman. I think that's how it worked. And then we had that movie right before that. So we will do the Superman Batman movie before we do season 4 of the animated series.
Okay.
We'll skip the 1st season of Superman, though. I'm not sitting through fucking 24 episodes of Superman. I can handle 1, but I'm not doing 24.
Are there any good ones out of it? How
I
about
didn't
that?
see a whole lot of them, but I imagine the Dark Side episodes would be the ones I'd want to see. I like Dark Side. I like Superman's villains. And I'm sure they're fine. I just don't know if I want to do 24 episodes of it.
I was thinking after I get done with Eternal, I'm gonna try to go to the Superman ones that run coincide or that run at the same time in the same time frame.
Okay.
Just because. I
Okay.
don't know, because his stuff looks interesting right now too.
Yeah. I believe
His
it.
shit is on a completely different level.
Right.
Like we're not talking about a city. Like
The world.
yeah, it's worlds and solar systems and shit, but whatever. I'm curious to see how my mind takes going from like a city all the way up to like a planet. I don't know.
Well, like I said, when we get into Justice League, it's bigger. And Batman's more utilized as the detective of the group, the one who figures out what people are planning. And he's not necessarily the muscle part of it, but he is incorporated in a lot of solo episodes. There's one where they go back in time. That's a really cool one. The time travel episode where they're trying to find Kronos. It's him, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and I think that's it. Him, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and somebody else. It was like one other person. And they go to the past. They go to the Wild West, which was really cool because then Bruce is just dressed up as a cowboy, so he looks like he can handle the West by himself. The rest of them had to not use their powers because they didn't want to stand out, and so Batman's the one that's kind of explaining how this world works. And they run into. Do you know who Jonah Hex is?
Yes.
They ran into Jonah Hex, and they were fighting some goons or whatever, and the guys had guns on them, and Batman just showed it, or Bruce Wayne just showed his belt. He's like, "Go ahead, give me an excuse." Like daring them to pull the trigger because he's like, that bullet's not getting here. They go into the future, Batman Beyond future, and that's where Batman meets Bruce Wayne. Like the animated series Batman meets the Bruce Wayne from the Batman Beyond world.
Mm-hmm.
And McGinnis is there too as Batman Beyond, and they're it was weird because you have Batman and Batman talking. And Batman says to him, he's like, or Bruce Wayne says, he's like, "Are you surprised to see me?" He's like, "Not really. I'm just surprised to see I lived this long." That was his first comment he said. And then they were trying to figure out how, because the timeline was getting polluted. So Batman just leaves the cave, and he's like, "Sometimes the best times always work." McGinnis like, "It won't work. It's different out there. It's not like it was when you're back home." He's like, "Are villains still cowardly and superstitious?" And Bruce Wayne's like, "Yep." So it's pretty much the same game.
Okay.
So it's a really, really strong episodes, and they're really
right.
good. So I really want to get into Justice League because I'll watch those
straight through.
And it's their audience level is geared not to kids. It's geared to older, more like people that are in their teens. So like I'd say from like 13 and up. So if you're like under the age of 13, you're not going to understand the stories because they're very complicated and
good.
They're not
good.
The animated series kind of dumbs it down a little bit. Those really strong stories.
Sure.
But the same people are writing the Justice League, but it's geared towards the people that watch the animated series as kids, and now they're like preteen, even to adulthood. Now they're watching Justice League. So they made their content, they aged their content. That's why I really like the DC animation, because their movies have aged. So I feel like I grew up with it. So that's why you had The Killing Joke. That's why you had, because they don't have an animated series right now. Well, they got Justice League Go or Justice League Action, which is they took all the voice actors from the originals and they made it again. But the episodes are only 10 minutes, and it's just action. There's no real story.
Okay.
So.
Oh, they still have Teen Titans on too.
Oh, Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
Garbage.
I'm not gonna. I don't.
The original Teen Titans was all right. It wasn't my show, but there are people that liked it. I watched it, but when I didn't watch Teen Titans Go. So my DC shows that I watch now, I watch Arrow, Flash, and Legends. And as of right now, for that's airing, that's it. There was another Batman show called Beware the Batman that I thought had potential to be really good, and they canceled it. Only lasted about. They only aired 13 episodes. They had 26 made.
Okay. Did they end up releasing them or anything?
You can buy them on the PlayStation Store, but it's a CG Batman show. So if you ever seen like the Green Lantern one, it's like that type of animation.
Okay.
So it's a little hard to get used to, but it actually. They tried to. They wanted to develop the villains that you never heard of, like Pig and Toad and Chaos or Anarchy. There was another, like a woman who had split personality, but it was an adult. This used to air on Toonami, so this was another adult Batman show. They had the only villain I think that came into effect that you would know is I want to say Mr. Freeze. No, Ra's al Ghul. That was it. Which he is in the animated series, and he's coming up soon. The Ra's al Ghul episodes are really good.
There's another figure that comic book store had.
The Ra's al Ghul one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess with that, there's not a whole lot else to talk about Batman related. But next week we will do Justice League Dark on Thursday.
Brand new.
Yep, brand new. So we'll do that. I'll buy the movie on Tuesday, most likely.
Okay.
And then we'll watch it. I won't watch it, so I'll watch it for the first time on Thursday. And then we'll do the podcast, and maybe we'll talk some more DC shows and stuff like that, like we did today.
Okay.
Because I don't know how long. The movie might only take like 20 minutes to review, and then
Sure.
I don't want to do it 20
some
minutes.
space to fill.
Right. Maybe we'll talk a little wrestling or something.
Yep.
So with that, I'm Andrew Caracci alongside
Robert Roth.
and we will be back next week, Thursday. No outro music today, so we're just gonna end it.